Hi everyone, Jonathan here from Hexplore It. In today's video I'm going to cover some of the new things that are showing up in the Forest of Adramon. We're going to be showing off gameplay cards, circumstances, destinations, relic cards, and the battle mat. In addition, we're going to take a closer look at how the fate tracker is used and what the fate cycle is. Okay, so the first thing we'll cover today is the different locations that appear in Forest of Adramon. The first one we'll outline is Wayposts. Wayposts only exist on the outer hex tiles outside of the four main quadrants. Players will skip the circumstance phase while they are in a waypost, and the group may choose to pay 1 gold to heal all lost health and energy while there. You will draw an additional destination card per relic to a maximum of 4 destinations on the board, and I'll go over that when we cover the relics and destinations. Heroes can also purchase items just as if they were in cities, although the item list is completely different. So you're going to see a ton of new items available to the players that obviously is not available in other games. So those are the wayposts. If we flip the card over, we're going to see battle sites. And battle sites are locations that exist on the 4 main quadrants. These are sacred locations where brave heroes once stood against the Magi. And the Magi defeated those heroes and basically crushed their relics, scattering them into fragments across the wind. So the heroes can go to battle sites to do a few things. The first thing is to use the healing surge that's available. The group gains access to the healing surge, which is usable once per game. It can be used in one of 2 ways. You can use it to remove all conditions, afflictions, levels of starving, and heal all heroes' lost health and energy. So it's a pretty large heal that gets rid of a ton of extra stuff as well. You can use it in the second way, and that is to revive 1 hero who has died, raising their health and energy to half their total amount. So players can go to battle sites in order to revive a single deceased hero. The next thing that you can do in battle sites is basically create your relics. Throughout the game, you'll be gathering fragments of each of these relics, and you'll be trying to put them together. And in order to do that, you will need to go back to the battle site with all of the fragments for your relic, and that allows you to create that relic. One other thing that battle sites have to offer are favors. Now, favors act a little bit like blessings in Valley of the Dead King. However, players can gather the favor in 2 ways instead of 1. The first way is by camping on a battle site. If the players camp on a battle site, they get access to the corresponding favor. However, the players also gain access to this if they defeat a Sentinel on this location. And Sentinels appear, and I'll be covering how Sentinels appear a little later in the video. Okay, so that is the battle site. The next thing to note is Elowen's Grove. Now, the Grove is a little bit like the black market in that it has a ton of extra items available to the players that give them, basically make them much stronger. There's a number of epic items in this location, including the best heal in the game, the best potion in the game, which is the Green Fire Potion. Now, in order to actually get to Elowen's Grove, the heroes have to jump through a few hoops. So Elowen's Grove is a separate location that is, if you can see on the video here, it's a little hex tile, and it's actually in the Fey realm. So this hex tile does not exist in the normal world, normal map. The heroes can gain access to this location by looking for portals that have Elowen's symbol on it. Now, when they find a portal, you will need to make sure that the grove is open, and I can cover that in a moment. But as long as the grove is open, you can travel through that portal and go into the corresponding number on her grove. So players will not be using gold in Elowen's Grove. The Dryad has no use for gold. So instead, if you flip over this card, you're going to see on the bottom we talk about Nature's Essence. Now this is a harvesting technique in the game. It's a farming technique that the players will have access to 3 different types of material in the forest. You'll have access to infused seeds, essence vines, and heart of the forest. So these 3 items are the currency that the Dryad trades in. And as long as the players have these items, they can trade those items, the Nature's Essence, for the items in the Grove. Now, it is important to note that on the Waypost card, the heroes actually can spend gold on Nature's Essence. So if they have a surplus of gold, they can use that to purchase these items. Okay, so that's Elowen's Grove. On the back of the Grove, we see a table that shows dark relics. There are a few items in the forests of Adramon that are extremely rare and they're kind of an evil type of magic. The Dryad is going to allow the players to either barter these in order to get additional essence, or the players can simply hang on to these items when they find it, and this shows what those items do and what kind of bonuses it gives the players. So we see the Grey Dragon Skull, the Widow's Fang, and the Black Sickle. I said that a little too fast. It's not actually like a popsicle, it's the Black Sickle. But Black Sickle is a fun way to say it. Okay, the next thing to show off is the Enthralled Cities card. Now this card is going to show the players what the cities look like in the Forest of Adramon. Unlike in Valley of the Dead King, the cities all begin fallen. They are completely enthralled, filled with the mind wiped. These are basically humanoid creatures who have succumbed to the Magi's mind control. So what are enthralled cities? The players are actually going to be able to go to these locations in order to find gear upgrades. So for instance, on the top here, it's going to show you what the process is. First of all, you're going to determine whether you're going to go as a group or if you're going to go alone. And this is to explore the city looking for loot. They're dangerous places filled with valuable equipment, so the heroes are going to try and gather their gear there. So then you're going to roll your skills, determined by what your group layout looks like. If there's a 2-player game, you can go both together as one group, or you can split up and going alone. And this just kind of shows you what happens when you explore as a group or when you split up. You're going to roll the 8-sided die after you roll your skills, and you're going to see what happens to the group as they explore the city. And then after all of that is resolved, then you get to search for gear. And searching for gear is just like using the gear upgrades in Valley of the Dead King. However, the players can't purchase gear in Wayposts, so this is how they get those gear upgrades. Okay. At the beginning of the game, when you first begin, you will actually roll a couple of times on the gear upgrade table and a couple of times on the items and loot table, and you'll be able to start the game with different items and different gear every time you begin a new game. Players can also trade any gear and equipment that's rolled with other players in the group. So you can certainly, if you get an attack upgrade and you're the healer, or you don't necessarily use the attack ability, you can simply give that to another player who would make use of it a little better. So those are Enthralled Cities. Then we have the Sentinel card on the back of the Enthralled City card. Now, Sentinels are the Magi's main power in the forest, at least the power that is recognized. After every fate cycle rolls over, when it becomes a new fate cycle, a new sentinel appears on the board. And when the heroes battle sentinels, the fight is always augmented in a different way. So you have the base sentinel card on the placard, but then you also have a number of different abilities on the bottom. And these abilities are going to change every time you fight the sentinel. So you would roll the 8-sided die, and you would see what additional effect that this particular sentinel has to offer. Okay, so that's the sentinel card. Then we have the game turn placard, and this basically describes all of the different features of the game turn. So you have your movement options, including camping, moving cautiously, moving normally, and recklessly. You have your skill phase, and the one thing to mention is that in forests, a critical success on any one of your skill rolls will also result in you can choose to either take the bonus, that is the normal bonus, or you can choose to roll for Nature's Essence. So whenever a player rolls a hex on their skills, they will be able to roll for Nature's Essence as well. On the back of this card, we see the rest of the game turn sequence. We see circumstances, we see the event phase, and then of course the Magi phase. And the Magi phase will be described in another video. Okay, so let's take a look at the circumstances and destinations on the board. When I was talking before about Elowen's Grove, Elowen's Grove is tied to the circumstance bar. So if we flip over our circumstances in play, again there are 5 slots here, so just like Valley of the Dead King, we have 5 total circumstances in play. You'll notice one of the circumstances that we picked has the grove symbol on it. I'll see if I can zoom in there a little bit. So let's see this guy right here. So this is the pristine glen, and it has Elowen's icon on it. As long as you have a circumstance in the circumstance bar that has Elowen's Grove symbol on it, you can enter the grove on any of the 6 locations. So if we look at Elowen's Grove, her symbol here, basically what this is saying is as long as we have that logo on that symbol on the circumstance deck, we can go to any one of these 6 locations and enter the grove. So if there isn't a location on the circumstance deck that a circumstance that has this symbol, you cannot enter the grove. Okay? So the grove is only open when that symbol appears. Okay, let's look at the destination bar. So the destination bar is on the bottom of the map along with the wander graphic. At the beginning of the game, you're going to choose 4 of the 6 relics and place them in the 4 slots in the destination bar. And this is done randomly. So you're going to place 4 cards. Unlike the Valley of the Dead King, which has 5 slots, Forest of Adramon has 4. So at the beginning of the game, you're going to flip over each of those 4 to see which of the relics you're currently working on in this particular game. Okay, so in this game we have access to Jormunder's Shield, Kedgel's Greatsword, Arcaven's Staff, and the Scepter of Light. Now when you begin the game, you will begin by placing 2 destinations on each location. So we are going to flip over 2 destinations for each. Okay. And these are the destinations where you have access to finding fragments. So for instance, in order to find fragments, we can go to any of these locations. And when you complete a destination, which appear to be much like quests, you have access to fragment cards instead of power-up cards. You might actually have access to both. If we look at the incursion card, for instance, we can see that this is giving out a power-up card as well as a fragment card. So that's how the destination bar is different. I think we've talked about everything here except for the battle mat and the fate cycle. Okay, so during the Magi phase, let's see if I can put this up here. So you're going to see on the battle map, there's a little different symbol in the upper left-hand corner of the battle mat, and that is the fate tracker. So every game turn, we are going to basically place a dot along this, just as if it were a gear upgrade for the heroes. So on game, at the heroes act in the first turn, we're going to put a circle in the first bar. After the second, we're going to put one there, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Now at the end of the sixth turn, it rolls over and we become Fate Cycle 1. So the outer bar is the Fate Tracker. The number on the inside is the Fate Cycle. Now whenever this number becomes greater than or equal to any of the hero's skills, that hero cannot use that skill. So let's say I had a hero with Navigate of 1 and I had Explore and Survival at rank 2. At this point in the game, I would not be able to use my Navigate skill. I would critically fail every roll that I make. Now if 6 more turns passed on the board, this would be Fate Cycle 2. Now at this point in the game, I would have lost access to all 3 of my skills. And that means I would have become mind-wiped and I would have joined Adramon's army. So skills are extremely important in the Forest of Adramon. You're going to want to increase your skills as often as possible in order to beat the Fate Cycle, in order to avoid becoming mind-wiped by Adramon. Thanks for taking a look at the video today. I hope it was instructional and gave you some information about how the game is a little different and how some of the new mechanisms work in play. Until next time, thanks for watching.